So how much can a day trader really make? Well, there's 4 numbers that's going to determine that. Just remember, this is not financial advice. This is for educational purposes only. The first number is going to be the average number of trades I take per day. How active am I going to be? Am I just trading part-time, maybe just the open before I go to work? Or am I going to be trading full-time from market open to close? Am I someone who only sticks to a handful of stocks, or am I going to be trading anything with a letter in it? So this may range from an average of 2 to 3 trades per day to maybe 7 to 8. For this example, let's go somewhere in between and say I average 5 to 6 trades per day. The second number I need to know is my win rate. How many of those trades end up being winners for me? I've heard traders out there claiming over 90% win rates, which I find extremely impressive. But here, let's say I'm wrong as much as I'm right and call it a 50% win rate, which is almost like flipping a coin, right? Not really, but it can work as long as I have a good Sharpe ratio, which is my third number. Sharpe ratio shows how much more my winners make over my losers. And how I get that number is by simply dividing my average winners by my average losers in a dollar amount. So let's say I risk $100 per trade, and on my losing trades, I tend to lose the full risk of $100, but on my winning trades, I make $200. Then my Sharpe ratio equals out to 2.0, meaning my winners make 2 times more than my losers. Which brings me to my fourth and final number, my risk amount. How much I risk per trade. This should be a set risk amount that I take for every single trade that I take, because that's the only way I can be consistent and make this a scalable business. Random risk amounts only lead to random results. So if I didn't know how to use a set risk amount, I would check out my share sizing video that I'll link on the screen right now. But for this example, let's stick to $100. So if I average 6 trades per day with a 50% win rate, that means 3 of my trades are winners and the other 3 are losers. My Sharpe ratio is 2.0, which again means my winning trades tend to make 2 times more than my losing trades. Since the risk here is $100 per trade, I would make $600 total on my 3 winning trades and lose $300 on my losing trades, which equals out to a profit of $300 per day. There's about 250 trading days in a year, so that comes out to 75 grand a year. Not bad for only risking $100. But let's say I need more than that. Well, an immediate adjustment I can make is up my risk to $200. And if nothing else changes, I trade the same exact way. That would double my income to about $150K a year. But also, what if I can do better than a 50% win rate? What if my strategy averages 60%? Well, now we're hitting that $250,000 mark. And look what happens if my Sharpe ratio goes up to 3. My income almost doubles to $420K. And if I change the risk to what I currently risk, $500 per trade, it comes out to $1 million a year. Now we're having some fun. So I can see how adjusting these 4 numbers will determine how much I can make as a day trader. Now, these would be very impressive numbers. Personally, I find it difficult to have both the win rate and the Sharpe ratio this high. So for me, what my personal numbers look like is the number of trades and win rate is about the same, which means my Sharpe ratio does take a hit down to about 1.6, and my risk is $500. I will admit this has been more difficult to track ever since I started scalping, but this is pretty close to what I made last year in my day trading account, as you saw in my 2022 recap video. Now, if I wanted to make more than that, I now know what I can work on using these 4 numbers. If I want to up the number of trades, I can be more active or learn more strategies to implement. My win rate really comes down to the quality of setups I decide to take. Sharpe ratio depends on how well I manage my trades and making sure I trade setups with higher reward to risk ratios. And the immediate change I can make is upping my risk per trade. Now here comes the reality. None of this is something I can force. This is all going to depend on the market environment because it's always changing. If the opportunities aren't there, then the number of trades I take may go down. Again, I can probably in some way combat that by learning other strategies, but in the end, it'll all depend on how good of a market it'll be to trade in. Like this year is a perfect example because this was one of the slowest environments that I've traded in. So like it or not, my average number of trades have dropped. Or if the market is choppy and not getting a lot of follow through, guess what? No matter how perfect the setups are, my win rate and especially my Sharpe ratio may take a hit. And upping my risk isn't as easy as it sounds because the higher up I go, so does my emotions, right? If I started risking $1,000 tomorrow instead of the usual 500, I'll probably start sweating more on those trades, which can affect how I manage those trades or even hesitate to take some of those trades. But here's the good news. It also works the other way around. So when the market gets really hot, there's a lot of opportunities, a lot of momentum and follow through, we get to pump those rookie numbers up. So in the long run, it will average out. And if I wanted to make more money as a day trader, I don't need to worry about getting more employees, resources, or marketing like other businesses out there. In this business, I just need to focus on these 4 numbers. Hope this was helpful. If it was, make sure to hit that like button. As always, I appreciate you for being here, and I hope to see you on the next one.